So Anakbayan is originally a chapter for the youth in the Philippines, and the membership is of the broadest sector. That means it's on the sector of the working youth, the out-of-school youth, also the professionals, working youth. Say here in Canada, like the migrant youth, like the temporary foreign worker youth. The ideological line that Anakbayan carries is the national democratic movement, inspired by China's People's Democratic Revolution in the 1920s and 1950s. And then Joma Sison, Jose Maria Sison, is one of the people that set up the Kabataang Makabayan, which is the underground youth organization in the Philippines. He studied Marxism, Leninism, and the Mao Zedong thought, because like China, the Philippines is a semi-feudal and semi-colonial character as well. As we know it, like the Philippines is like very rich with natural resources. Whenever we think of the Philippines, we think of gold and pearls. But then we also know that the Philippines is one of the biggest sending countries for raw materials and labor power. Especially here in Canada, we are like the third largest sending country. As of today, more than 7,000 Filipinos leave every day for a better life outside, because the quality of life for the working class in the Philippines is violently difficult. It makes you ask, why are the people so poor? Why are the Filipinos so poor if the Philippines is so rich? So we have all of these natural resources, and yet only 1% benefit from it, which are the big comprador bourgeoisie and the big landlords. Meanwhile, 75% of the population are still in the countryside, and they are the peasants. And 15% are the working class. And most of the peasants who move towards the urban area are displaced or are pushed to move there because of lack of jobs in the countryside as well. More and more, there's like less land to till. Like more and more, the lands are being sold and being converted into non-agricultural businesses like solar farms, mining, and they even put up factories in it that are not really being used by the people. Like the materials that they manufacture in those factories are like sent outside. If we look at the difference in Philippines and Canada, the situation, even the kind of society is very different. Like we have said that in the Philippines it's semi-feudal and it's semi-colonial. Meanwhile, here in Canada, it's a fully capitalist system. So why did we expand to overseas? It's tied to the problem in the Philippines, that the lack of industrialization for our own needs, and not for like importing them and exporting them. It is not enough for the Filipino people to sustain their family. And so they are pushed to seek jobs abroad, and say that here in Canada they are working as warehouse workers, as housekeepers, as custodians in universities, in malls. They're working mostly in food service or in retail service. Even when, say, in the Philippines, they are university graduates with degrees, and they, like, some of them are already working as professionals, like as doctors, as engineers. But when they get here, the available jobs for the migrant workers are like warehouse, service, cleaning jobs, right? And they accept that because it is more than they make back home. The farming techniques in most agricultural lands in the Philippines are still backward. It's still not mechanized. We still use carabaos to plow the soil instead of renting huge tractors like the machineries because it's not affordable for the peasants. And then the peasants are also competing with the imported produce. And then the industrialization of the country is also backwards. So even if we have our own, say like factories, it doesn't really process the raw materials into tools like nails. We don't even have toothpicks, even though we have the resources for it. So the raw materials like iron, copper, or like carbon properties, they are exported to different countries, and then they are manufactured there as like tools. And then they are sent back to the Philippines to be assembled. We're not really making products, we're merely assembling it. They are profiting off of the cheap exports and then they're selling it back to us. There's this system called hacienda. Back in the Spanish colonization time, like they settled in the Philippines and they told the locals that the king is now owning the land and the people are servants to the crown. And then it evolved into hacienda system that the US maintained so that they are using like the ruling class, which is the landlords, so that they can keep controlling the peasants. The government, like the different regimes, they tried to implement laws that will redistribute the land, but it's not real. It's to pacify the activists who want to redistribute the land back. So the government is now being run like a business instead of actually serving the people. And that's why like one of the basic problems is like a bureaucrat capitalism, and that is tied to the US imperialists controlling the puppet government of the Philippines. One of the educational discussions that we do in Anakbayan is ARA, which stands for Araling Aktivista, and it translates to activist studies. And one of the sections there is specifically for internationalism, and it's by the lessons from Comrade Norman Bithune. So why is it important for us to be internationalists? Like all over the world, it is not just one set of peoples that are having a contradiction with the ruling class and the exploited class. And so the Filipino people recognize that we are in the same boat for like fighting for our national sovereignty and being liberated from internal feudal relations, which is ostracized and which is designed by the US imperialists. So recently, Anakbayan Montreal spoke at the events for the town hall discussions and the protest action in downtown for the Venezuelan
the US
people.
war machine. We are a Filipino youth organization fighting for the national democratic movement in the Philippines, and we are here standing with the Venezuelan people. We are standing against the open attacks of the US because the same system that drops their bomb on Venezuelan land is the same system that is dropping their bombs on our land as well in the Philippines. In Mindoro in Philippines recently, they bombed a province there and 5 people were killed, 5 indigenous people, 188 families were displaced. These were justified as community defense, but when the truth came out, humanitarian aid was denied, fact-finding mission was rejected. The Venezuelan people know this too because of the myth that is being fed to us that it is a narco state, that the leaders are criminals, and yet the people are supporting their leaders. And the U.S. imperialist is using this to justify the decades of sanctioning, of plundering, and of strangling Venezuela. Because Venezuela is a large oil reserve, right? And the Philippines is the same. The U.S. imperialists are also plundering our people, and we are fighting back for our sovereignty. Our contribution is to create a new Philippines that will stand for the people and not for the businessmen, not for the foreign capitalists. So we are
So
here,
as an overseas mass organization that carries the line of the National Democratic Movement, as we said earlier, the political education that we do pushes the youth to visit the Philippines with the perspective of integrating with the masses. So for other Anakbayan members, it is going back home and to see it with new lenses, getting to compare it with the reality on the ground, compared to the American dream propaganda that we are taught in schools. For some of our members who are born here and maybe they've seen the Philippines when they were really young with their parents, or they've never seen the Philippines, they get to learn for the first time alongside with the local organizers. Learning it on the ground really makes you understand why your parents or why your grandparents had to leave in the first place and settle abroad. It removes the idea of individualistic traveling that capitalism dream is selling you, that you have to discover yourself, go on a backpacking solo travel, whereas through this you can learn collectively in a group, because then you get to share with the other people your experiences. You get to learn from them, and then they get to learn from you. The exchange of experiences is what builds the community, even if after you leave you're separated, but you're connected through that experience.
Anakbayan Montreal.
Yo, we invited them.
I'm sorry.
Another set of possible pork barrel scam cases, but this time,
Yung tubig na
The floodwater from the typhoon and the surrounding provinces gushed here.
And finally, the Philippine National Bank, the Lusutan Group lender, raises $300 million.
Marcos Jr. assures calamity-stricken communities that help is on the way.
Yung mga kasama, today, we are studying about the national situation. You know why the Philippines the Philippines is rich but the people are poor? And that's because of the three basic problems. What are they?
Imperialism. Feudalism.
Capitalism. And what should we do? Resist. What else? Organize. We should resist, organize, build new chapters. Build a new chapter. Launch mass campaign. Launch mass campaign.
Resist the U.S. Marcos regime!
Struggle against imperialism
Advance national democracy!
with a socialist perspective.
Kabataan! Kumikilos para sa kinabukasan!
Lumalakas, lumalawak! Lumalaban! Anak bayan! Kabataan ng bayan! Ngayon ay lumalaban! Kabataan ng bayan! Ngayon ay lumalaban! Kabataan ng bayan! Ngayon ay lumalaban!
If you're a Filipino and you would want to connect to your heritage and contribute to improving the lives of fellow Filipinos, of our generation of the youth, it would be great if you join Anakbayan in your province or in your region and organize with them.